We don't have to believe everything that we read or what is most popular. Let's tap. Side of the hand. Be here. Be here with me. Tap. Even though I may have had to sacrifice my authenticity for survival, I accept myself. Even though I've left myself so many times, I'm okay. Even though I compromised my authenticity for attachment, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. To the eyebrow. All the ways that I abandoned me. All the ways that I abandoned me. Side of the eye. That's a grief. That's a loss. That's a grief. That's a loss underneath the eye. And that exists in me. That exists in me underneath the nose. Somewhere hidden. Somewhere hidden. The chin. For protection. For protection. To the chest. I had to leave myself to protect her. I had to leave myself to protect her. Or I had to leave myself to protect him. Or me. Or them. I had to leave myself to protect me underneath the arm. And I don't know if my inner child realizes that. I don't know if my inner child realizes that. To the wrist. That I went away in attempt to keep her safe. Or him. I went away in attempt to keep them safe. The top of the head. They're angry. That inner child in me is angry. To the eyebrow. Furious. Furious to the side of the eye. And that anger is valid. That anger is valid. Underneath the eye. Be mad at me. Be mad at me. Underneath the nose. Not to shame. Not to shame. The chin. But because I left. Because I left. The chest. I didn't stay true to me. I didn't stay true to me. Underneath the arm. And that's really frustrating. That's really frustrating. The wrist. And at times I think I was punishing myself. At times I think I was punishing myself. Top of the head. As if anytime I do something wrong, there needs to be a punishment. As if anytime I do something wrong, there needs to be a punishment. The eyebrow. I've been punishing myself for years. I've been punishing myself for years to the side of the eye. So much suffering. So much suffering underneath the eye. Through physical pain, through emotions, through physical pain, through emotions underneath the nose. And I can get this now. I get this now to the chin. I acknowledge this now. I acknowledge this now to the chest. I take ownership. I take ownership underneath the arm. I'm accountable. I'm accountable to the wrist. I don't need to punish myself anymore. I don't need to punish myself anymore. To the top of the head. I am not a prisoner to my own suffering. I am not a prisoner to my own suffering. To the eyebrow. That's the cage I've been in. That's the cage I've been in. To the side of the eye. No wonder I feel trapped. No wonder I feel trapped underneath the eye and suffocated in this by this world and by others. And suffocated by this world and by others underneath the nose. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. To the chin. Why I feel the way I do. Why I feel the way I do. The chest. What does this little me really need? What does this little me really need? Underneath the arm. When the anger is released. When the anger is released. The rest. What's there? What's there? Top of the head. Maybe numbness and shutdown. Maybe numbness and shutdown. The eyebrow. Maybe distractions and escapism. Maybe distractions and escapism. Side of the eye. Maybe it's the grief. Maybe it's the grief underneath the eye. The sadness. The sadness underneath the nose of being abandoned and left and rejected of being abandoned and left and rejected to the chin, from the inconsistencies to the chest, the confusion underneath the arm. It's all real. It's all real. To the rest. And I feel it safely right now. I feel it safely right now. Stop that, because I'm not alone. I'm not alone to the eyebrow. I'm with Amanda. I'm with Amanda to the side of the eye, and myself with the tapping, underneath the eye. So my body settles a little bit. My body settles a little bit underneath the nose and is more open and receptive, to the chin, to connect to the chest with a higher presence of self, underneath the arm that understands to the wrist, that's compassionate to the top of the head, that's curious to the eyebrow, that can provide some clarity, the eyebrow that I left to keep you safe. Underneath the eye, because I believed that I was harmful. Underneath the nose, or bad, or like a monster, Chin. I don't want to hurt you. The chest. That sacrifice beneath the arm was so well intentioned. To the wrist, that sacrifice was from a place of deep love. To the top of the head, that I didn't even know was there. The eyebrow. But what if I'm not actually harmful? Side of the eye. What if I now know and trust that I won't hurt you? Underneath the eye. Or if I do, you're going to be okay. Underneath the nose. Maybe you're not going to perceive it as harm. The chin. Maybe you're going to understand and get me and see me. To the chest. We can see each other clearly. Underneath the arm. Not from a pleasing, improving place. The rest, I don't have to hide. The top of that, because you accept me for who I am. To the wrist, or to the eyebrow, in all my parts. The side eye. That's authentic. Underneath the eye. Love is the gateway to your authenticity. Underneath the nose, because my leaving was from a place of love and protection. To the chin. Love isn't always staying. To the chest. Love exists even if we're not physically there. Underneath the arm. Love exists even in the disconnection. The rest. That's authentic then. To the top of the head. I'm authentic. To the eyebrow. You're authentic. To the side of the eye. And we're holding the space in between. We are the space in between underneath the eye. And that's beautiful. Underneath the nose. We radiate that. The chin. I feel it. The chest, this presence underneath the arm, in my breath, to the wrists, the safety, this new safety, top of the head, this new way of being with light, love, magic, and miracles. In this new way of being with light, love, magic, and miracles. Release. Take that all in. Just notice. I appreciate you listening to my stories. I invite you to share your own. Please comment. What stories do you have of your understanding, of your interpretation of magic and miracles? Or maybe you don't believe it, but you have stories of coincidence. You are opening up to new things. It's happening now as you trust in the process. This reveals itself to you. You do not need to do anything. You allow, and it unfolds, and your perspective starts to shift. You amaze me, and I love you. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself. If you're interested in the Alchemized community, check out the links, check out the show notes. If you're interested in my other offerings, please go to my website. Again, in the description or in the show notes, check out my website, amandabakerwrites.com. There's a link to the Alchemized community there. There's my poetry books. There's the You Amaze Me shirts. There's community. And even this, if this is all you do for yourself today, you are enough. That's enough. So thank you. Until next time.